It was one evening 3 years ago around midnight. I was in the midst of publishing a fiction book for preteens for a Singaporean author. It was in my house, in the study cum guest room, and the script was all over the bed. There was papers everywhere. There were some sections where I marked for certain characters to be removed, some sections to discuss with the author about rewriting so we could tighten the story, and some sections where we wanted more illustrations to be put in. I was intensely concentrating on the editing work when suddenly, out of nowhere, I just received a very strong impression. I guess you call it a divine inspiration. I stopped everything, and it was a very strong sense that I was to write a book for young children on integrity. I'm now going to split open my brain and give you a glimpse of what just came into my mind that evening. The main character was to be a tapir. Many of you know it's an endangered species found in Malaysia, but in this case, it was a cool-looking tapir in denim. Next, I saw the word integrity, followed by 9 values which matched each of those letters, followed by 9 colorful characters. All this just came to my mind that evening. I never realized that my journey of publishing was going to lead me to this point, where I would find a message which I have become passionate about to do with integrity and children. I will come back to this story later. So am I a publisher or an author, or a very confused person? If I was negative, I would say that I'm a reluctant publisher and an accidental author. But if I was positive, I would say that I have had the privilege to help various authors share the message that they have for the world. And for myself as an author, I believe that I'm obeying my calling, and it has to do with impacting children. Although I was trained as an accountant and investment consultant, when my children were young, I decided to opt for the more flexible option and something I love, of running my own business. I started an educational toy shop. My children were my best customers then, and we slowly included the range to have books. I've always loved the concept of books. I think many of you would agree, words are powerful, words have impact. And so I was enjoying and retailing my books when publishing suddenly came into the picture. I was approached by someone to publish her book for her. But my first reaction was, no, I don't publish books, I only sell books. And often in my journey, one obstacle which comes in is fear. Fear of doing something unknown. Fear of doing something I've never done before. But I've always been challenged by these words of Sheryl Sandberg, the author of Lean In and the COO of Facebook. This is what she had to say: what would you do if you weren't afraid? Very challenging words. What would you do if you were not afraid? And so I took on the challenge, and over a period of course of events, I published 5 books for various authors over a 2-year period. And it was so rewarding to be able to help authors share the message that is burning in their hearts. I want to share with you one example of the joy of publishing. Beginning of this year, I was asked by somebody to have a look at a script. I was quite reluctant, but as I heard 19-year-old Angelina share about her brother, she had grown up her whole life with an autistic brother. She wrote these beautiful poems which gave great insight into the inner world of an autistic person. And when I saw his drawings, I was just taken, because they were not only precise, but they expressed all the emotions of the poems of his sister, who just loved him so much. And I knew I had to publish for them. Our creative team came up with this concept. The word autistic, it seems like a handicap, a weakness. But with one stroke of a letter, it becomes a gifting, a strength. And so when Frankie held that book in his hands, when it was printed with sheer joy on his face, it was all worth it. And when I heard the feedback from parents and teachers of autistic children, I was just so excited. So I entered the world of publishing, being connected with illustrators and proofreaders, artists and designers. I learned about the world of licensing and publishing, licensing and ISBNs and printing, also the challenging aspects of marketing and distribution. Now we are working on about 3 or 4 projects at the moment, which we are very excited about, but we cannot help everybody who has approached us to publish because we are a small publisher. But we are hand-holding a few different authors in their journey of self-publication because we want to help others to share the message that they have for the world. Because this is a women's series, I just want to divert a bit to speak about women. A few of these authors we are hand-holding, most of them happen to be women, and hearing the other speakers just now, so many of them I believe have inspired other women. And I always believe that when women can help other women, it is so empowering. 9 years ago, I co-founded a women entrepreneur organization in Penang together with my good friend, and we've had amazing women join us over the years. What I'm really grateful for is that these women don't see each other as competitors. They really desire to see each other excel and be the best that we can be. Perhaps as entrepreneurs, we've gone through many challenges. We've tried new ventures, some fail, some succeed, but there's just this sense that we really want to see each other do well. And at many of our book launches, some of them are there, and the moral support says to me, "You can do it, and we're proud of you." And during our journey, my journey, sometimes it is discouraging, and you wonder, am I really doing what I'm supposed to do? And that's when an encouraging family has been so crucial. Our husbands, too, can be our greatest cheerleader and also our greatest critique. And I've learned and am learning to receive constructive feedback because that helps our publications and myself to improve. Now, going back to the story of the Singapore author whom I published for, it was that evening at midnight with the script all over the bed that I received that strong impression to write a book on integrity for young children. This time I was not only feeling fearful, but I was feeling really inadequate because I've never done a book before, I've never written a book, and I never intended to write a book. But with some hard work and research, with the encouragement of the people around me, and a lot of prayer, the book just seemed to get a life of its own. And so many people came to support it, giving up their time, their talents, their energy, because they believe too in instilling integrity into the next generation. But this is not just about a book. This is about one word, integrity. And the core message that has come out of that, the vision to influence a generation of future leaders who will do what is right. When I think of the main character, a tapir, the black and white endangered species found in Malaysia, gentle yet strong. And when you think about the word integrity, if you were to look at integrity in a visual way, what are the colors which come to mind? You just saw black and white, good and evil, right and wrong, no gray areas. I could be imagining this, but I wonder if the tapir was created to share about integrity. And so this began the whole tapir journey and the message of doing what's right and integrity. From something which was reluctant and accidental, had now become purposeful and intentional. You know, in my shop, I told you I have a toy shop, we have a lot of children coming in. I used to see children as fun or energetic or cheeky, or even sometimes brats, because they come into the shop and turn the whole shop upside down, which is okay because it's a toy shop. But now, ever since this vision, I see children differently. I begin to see them as future leaders. These are the future judges, teachers, and the ones who are going to impact society. These are the future mothers and fathers and politicians. They're like empty canvases, waiting for us to paint on, to impact, and to influence. Now we look at the many problems of the world today: moral ills, social ills, political ills, the many injustices. As we heard just now, children and human trafficking. How could a human being do something like that to a fellow human being? Used to be fake eggs, now there's fake rice. Where is the integrity? Even football and FIFA is not spared of corruption. But what can we do? We all here have the power to influence the young around us. Although I'm focusing on young children, but this applies to teenagers, college students, perhaps even the young executives whom you mentor. What can we do? I propose one, we begin to see the young around us as future leaders. 2, share and talk about workplace ethical issues, even everyday issues of integrity. Share with them about choices and consequences. I believe I'm supposed to share this story because I heard it last week. I met a father who's a businessman. He started a business with his wife, a quantity surveying business, not in this state. And he regularly shares with his children about issues they face at work. 5 years ago, they made a bold decision to turn away from certain unethical workplace practices to doing what's right in their business. They shared transparently with their children that it's not easy. They lost some projects. But over time, they gained back some. And 2 weeks ago, they just received news that they got awarded a $50 million contract. What a powerful message to their children, that integrity pays even though everyone around them says it doesn't, because their work was excellent, because they delivered their projects ahead of time and not for other reasons. Journal. I believe something powerful happens when we put pen to paper. Encourage your children to write when they've done something right. Celebrate with them. When they've done something wrong, encourage them to write, to confess it and discuss what to do next. Encourage them to ask others, what does it mean to do what's right? We came up with our own journal, but you can use any other notebook. I was very touched by this 11-year-old boy. He wrote that to him, doing what's right is to love the nation. And when he grows up, he wants to be someone who will help to preserve the heritage of this city. What a visionary 11-year-old. Now we know that talking and teaching about integrity is easy, but walking the talk is another thing. Some parents ask me, what if we share about integrity, then we fail or we fall? Yes, we will stumble, and there will be times we will fail and fall. But like my son reminds me, it is how we pick up that matters. And it's how we as adults role model to them how we pick up that matters. You know, soon after I wrote the book, we were driving to a coffee shop, and there was no parking space. I went round and round, there was just none. Then suddenly I see one parking spot. As I drove near, I saw that it was a handicapped lot. And I told the kids who were in my car, okay, I know this is a handicapped lot, but we're just coming for a short while, okay? Just a short while. So I drove forward, and my children were very quick to say, Mom, didn't you just write a book about doing what's right? I hung my head so low and I just reversed back. I thought children really have a way of convicting us. I asked my teenage son, what does it mean to you to do what's right? Expecting a profound answer. And he coolly said to me, don't steal your best friend's girlfriend. And I thought, okay, that's true. And the other day, a friend's 5-year-old son, he was reading my book together with me, and he looked at me and said something very cute but profound. He said, Auntie Jo, do what's right because it's the right thing to do. And I thought that is so profound. Do what's right because it's the right thing to do. We were created with a conscience, so let's not numb it. Now, schools have begun to open their doors to hear about this message. For me, my vehicle is my book, but I believe we can create many other more creative vehicles to share this message of doing what's right. I'm so encouraged when parents, teachers, and principals have come to share with me that they have begun conversations about doing what's right. It's not about memorizing moral values. It's about processing with them real-life issues, to talk to them about what goes on in the real world, even from young, in their language. We were invited to the Georgetown Literary Festival, where we could share the message through skits. And I'm so excited in Penang, we have the Tapir Festival with the Penang Performing Arts Center. Yeah, Penang Performing Arts Center has done a great job last year and this year, and we could share this message through storytelling. Recently, I was also invited by one group because they want to take our integrity message and characters and integrate it into their children's program and take it global, because they already have a growing global base. And I'm just amazed at the open doors. I really believe that from there, because I obeyed to do that for her, this whole story and this whole journey of coming up with my own book, and most of all, this message, has really been something very close to my heart. And I believe that all of us here have the power to influence the young around us. And we need to do it because for their sake, for the sake of the future generation, we need to take up this call, because the world is full of problems and they are the ones who can make a difference. So let's do so, because I desire to see a generation of future leaders who will arise, who will do what's right, so that they will be exemplary citizens, a blessing to the community. They will be responsible employees and ethical employers. They will be those who will do what's right and think twice when they have to compromise, even under pressure. They will be those who will be a voice to the voiceless and oppressed, because it's the right thing to do. And they will be those who will not be driven by greed at the expense of others. So I believe as we all make that effort to influence the young around us, recognize them as future leaders, I believe that we will see game changers, that many of the young people will arise to be game changers in industries where people say these institutions will always be corrupt. I hope to see many transforming agents arise wherever they will be called to in future. So let's together plant that seed in their hearts so that they will themselves have an overwhelming desire to do what's right. Let's build that momentum together to influence a generation of future leaders who will do what's right. Now, I'm very grateful that I have been able to publish my passion. And I believe that many of you have something that you are passionate about, something very specific and uniquely you. Books are one way. Now with social media, we have blogs and postings, ebooks. We can have speaking engagements, create workshops. Those are also ways to publish your message. So I encourage you to go and publish your passion, and you never know what lives you may impact and what unexpected doors may open for you, just as it had for me. Thank you.